over 900 people died in a single night.
They died because one man told them to.
But the most terrifying part?
1978, deep inside a remote jungle, something terrifying was about to happen that would shock the entire world forever. In one single night, over 900 innocent people lost their lives in one of history's darkest tragedies. The news spread quickly, leaving millions of people around the world in complete disbelief and horror. But behind this horrifying event was not an army, not a war, but just one man. His name was Jim Jones, a man who once inspired hope, but later created fear. At the beginning, Jim Jones was seen as a caring preacher who wanted to change society for the better. He helped poor families, fought for equality, and spoke about love, peace, and justice. His words touched people deeply, and many believed he was a man chosen to help humanity. Over time, thousands of loyal followers joined him, trusting every word he said without question. But what started as hope would soon transform into one of the most terrifying nightmares ever recorded.
As years passed, Jim Jones slowly changed, becoming more controlling, paranoid, and obsessed with power. He convinced his followers that only he knew the truth and everyone else was lying. His followers became completely dependent on him, believing their survival depended on his guidance. He warned them that the outside world was dangerous, evil, and full of enemies. Fear became the strongest weapon he used to control every person around him.
To escape what he called a corrupt world, Jim Jones moved his followers to Guyana. Inside the jungle, they built a hidden community called Jonestown, far away from society. Jim Jones promised his followers that Jonestown would be a paradise where everyone could live peacefully. But behind the beautiful promises, the truth was much darker and far more dangerous. Life in Jonestown was harsh, exhausting, and controlled by strict rules that nobody could escape.
Food was limited, and many people were always hungry, weak, and struggling to survive each day. Armed guards watched over the camp, making escape nearly impossible for anyone who wanted freedom. Families lived in fear, trapped inside a place they once believed was their dream. Every night, Jim Jones held long meetings where he spoke for hours and controlled everyone's thoughts. Nobody was allowed to question him because questioning him meant punishment or worse. Slowly, many followers realized Jonestown was not paradise, but a prison hidden deep in the jungle. Some began secretly planning their escape, hoping they could survive and return home. They passed hidden notes to visitors, begging desperately for help before it was too late. Back in America, worried families demanded answers about their missing loved ones. Their desperate calls finally reached the United States government, forcing them to take action. That's when Congressman Leo Ryan traveled to Jonestown to uncover the truth. At first, everything seemed normal, but the fear on people's faces told a different story. Secretly, several followers approached Leo Ryan and begged him to help them escape. Plans were quickly made for them to leave Jonestown and finally find freedom. But Jim Jones soon discovered the escape plan, and his anger began to grow.
As Leo Ryan and the escapees arrived at the airstrip, tension filled the air. Suddenly, armed men loyal to Jim Jones opened fire without warning. Panic exploded as bullets flew everywhere and people ran for their lives. Congressman Leo Ryan was shot and killed, becoming the first U.S. congressman murdered in duty. Back in Jonestown, Jim Jones knew there was no turning back after the attack. That night, he gathered everyone together and told them their enemies were coming. He claimed there was only one way to escape the pain, fear, and suffering ahead: A deadly drink mixed with poison was prepared and placed in front of everyone. The children were forced to drink first while their parents watched in horror and tears. One by one, the adults drank the poison too, believing there was no other choice. Within minutes, people began collapsing to the ground as fear, pain, and silence filled the camp. Jonestown quickly turned into a field of death with bodies covering the ground everywhere. In the end, Jim Jones himself was found dead, ending the nightmare he had created. The Jonestown Massacre remains one of the deadliest cult tragedies in human history. It serves as a chilling reminder of how dangerous blind faith and absolute control can truly become.